about the roles that you have been performing, and Don Carlo was really a tremendous role for you. It kind of launched you into the international scene.
Exactly.
And you had your Met debut early because of Don Carlo. And tell us a little bit about that role and what that is for you.
Don Carlo is very special role for me. I mean, it's my destiny, I can say, because I made my debut as Don Carlo. I mean. At the time, I had my management, but I never get the chance to sing in a professional place. I made my audition for a director from who came from Santiago, Chile, and I sang a couple of my arias, and then after that, we are finding Don Carlos. It's Italian folk version, but we only have 15 days. Do you know the Don Carlos? I said, I don't know at all. So I had to learn in 2 weeks.
Oh my goodness! And for our audience members who may not be familiar with this opera, it is a very major piece of work.
Wow! Yes. Yeah, but the thing is, I had no chance to say yes or no because you know, I got really big trouble financially. So I must do something. So I said yes, and then I prepared the Don Carlo. As you said, it's masterpiece. It's huge, and in 2 weeks, I had to, you know, learn.
So after that 2 weeks, did you feel like, okay, now I got it, or were you still at that moment?
No,
I'm not sure.
Like a very difficult time.
Yeah.
And it's in Italian. Is that the language that you prefer to perform in?
Italian opera gives a beauty of sound by the language. Yeah, very special and strong and clear.
You know, it's not frequent anyway that it's rare that we see a Korean tenor, such a special Korean tenor, because most often we see many Koreans singing the roles of the chaplain or the villain or the father, but it's rare, I would say, to see a romantic lead on stage. And as we were talking earlier, you always get the girl, you know, and
it's because of his good looks.
Why do you think there is such a the ratio is not as balanced in terms of, you know, the tenor versus the baritone voice type?
The most of opera is the background is Western culture.
Yes.
So it's not familiar. If we have Asian singers on stage, we can learn the language, but we cannot learn. I mean, it's very difficult to learn this culture.
Right.
You know, we only have a Turandot or Madame Butterfly for Asian. You know, except this, it's all about Western culture. We have to work hard for each moment, and like it looks like Italian or looks like French, and acting like Italian. It's a big challenge still.
Yes.
But what you've done is just open the doors. I'm sure there are people in Korea right now wanting to be more tenors, right?
Recently, I can see and can meet in this world, in this business, so many Asian singers.
What's it like performing in Asia, for example, Korea or Japan?
Yeah, actually, you know what? I never had a chance to sing Korea professionally.
Really?
But I made my Asian debut in Tokyo from Metropolitan.
Wow, to Tokyo, all to Tokyo.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to find a way to get you to Korea. I'm sure they would be so.
Soon,
when the time is right. When the time is right. Yes. When I was in Korea this summer, I went to see Tosca at the Opera House there, and the top 3 roles actually were all non-Korean, non-Asian.
Wow.
So you know, that's when I also thought that you know.
What about the other roles? They were all Korean?
They were Korean. Yes, all the
only
secondary
the top
roles.
3 roles.
Right, but the top 3 did not go to any Korean singers, and so.
It's happened also in Japan also.
I
So
see.
The main principal singers are all from abroad.
Right.
But you know, I think it's really similar to when Asian Americans used to go to Korea, Japan to teach English.
Yes.
And they would get paid less than somebody who was Caucasian.
Right.
Even though their English might have actually been better or more educated in some ways. But I think there's this kind of bias in Asia towards Asian Americans
Yes,
sometimes,
that's right.
or
So
Asians even.
well, we're going to change that. We'll have to change that with the portfolio.
One step at a time, yes. You're going to inspire
Yes.
thousands of people to come out and become
yeah.
tenors now, too.
Absolutely.
I have a few questions, you know. Sojung here is an expert on opera. For me, I enjoy opera, but I don't know as much. I mean, I look at you and I kind of compare you to an athlete, really. Like you're a superstar baseball player, for example, and your voice is your tool, is your talent. What do you do to keep the beautiful voice that you have?
Well, yeah, the number one improvement, as much as we can keep quiet and rest, quickly, and then, you know, especially on the performance date or one day before, try to keep quiet.
Yes.
Yeah. So we can rest our voice, vocal cords.
Well, I think there are days when my wife wish I were an opera star, so I would just be quiet for a day. But yeah, so no, that's good news for
You have a newborn baby, and you know, I was sharing this story with Kevin that you had just finished singing in Cavalleria Rusticana, I believe, in La Scala, and and then you were asked to return to perform in Tosca, and I happened to be there and texting you to see if you'll be performing in that production, and which you thought you may be, but then the baby was born.
Actually, the baby due was February 6th. But my last performance of Cavalleria Rusticana was February 5th. And then I said, you know what? My most exciting debut is as a father. I cannot miss it. And then, Yonghoon, come on, you never know. You know, even if you try, you never. Only he knows. You might not make it.
Right.
But at least I want to do my best.
Yes.
So I took a flight from Milan to New York, and I arrived at JFK like at 2 p.m. And then my boy came out 6 p.m.
Wow.
It was perfect. And then I made it, and he's
Your wife was probably holding on because she knew you were on the way, so you have to thank your wife for that.
yes. So thank God.
And thank God.
What are some of the roles that you aspire to have?
Well, it's a very difficult question, but I can say I love a variety of opera.
Yes.
Yeah, he's my maestro. It's a really masterpiece, like even Verdi Requiem or Verdi music. It's inspired me so much. Yeah.
I read somewhere actually along those lines that you were described as the possible new Siegfried, actually, Wagner, which is quite impressive. That takes a very big voice and a lot of endurance.
Maybe one day.
One day. Oh, so you wouldn't discount Siegfried?
Maybe also Othello. So maybe one day I can do it. But now I just want to
one
stay
step
with,
at a time.
With my.
So you actually, your voice is changing then as you go. Is that pretty normal for an opera
say every moment.
career?
Because that's why we need to work on every day. Because a human's voice is changing. Every day I think. So who is very great singer with great technique? They must work on every day because it's changing.
Yes. And as a tenor, I'm sure you have many heroes. And you know, actually, I read something that you were compared to Franco Corelli, but even more sensitive than that legendary tenor.
My number one maestro is Enrico Caruso. Yeah, it's phenomenal. I always learned the phrases and his breath through his singing. Yeah.
You have some very big roles coming up soon.
The next season is quite fully booked, and until 2015 and 16. But the new role, actually, I got the call before many times, but I said no, which is Turandot. But well, it's time. That's what I thought. I will sing at the Bologna as a new production and a seasonal opening show. It's Turandot. So it's in January.
Wow.
It will come out.
So now that you've kind of reached where you are in your career, are there some words of wisdom that you could impart to the next generation?
Well, I can say, be patient. It's most I think most important thing for the young singers. I had to wait for a long time to get the chance. But there's so many people around me. They support me so much, and then they advise like, be patient and wait. Your time is coming. It's around the corner. So please wait. Then it happened.
So above your son's crib, it'd probably be patient is the word. So when he cries, does it sound like he'll be a great opera singer someday?
Well, so loud. I mean,
That's a start, right? That's
my friends said, all the spin to tenor son is very loud. He will be singer, but I don't know. Who guesses he's only 9 months?
Yeah.
9 months old.
Thank you very much for joining
you
us
so much.
today. It
Thank
was
you so much.
a pleasure to hear your story, and
Oh,
we're
it's my
very, very
pleasure.
proud of you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for all the people around me. They support me so much, and thank God. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for inspiring so many people. Thank you.
We were delighted to welcome tenor Yonghoon Lee as our guest on the Portfolio today.
Well, if you were inspired by this story, we hope you'll join us again next week on The Portfolio. Good night.
Good night.